I'd like to show you how to use a couple of our watercolour mediums, those being granulation medium and watercolour medium itself. So I'd like to firstly demonstrate the granulation medium down here on this sheet of paper. Certain colours within our range of watercolours can be classified as either granular or smooth. So if I paint out the Artist Watercolour Cobalt Blue first, you can see that the colour has a very granular appearance already. You can see it looks grainy, especially when watered down around this area here. It's almost as if you can see individual particles of pigment. By comparison, if I paint out the Artist Watercolour Windsor Blue red shade next to it, you can see that the colour is a lot smoother. It doesn't have that grainy appearance that the cobalt blue does. Now, if I want to make the Windsor Blue red shade look more granular and also the cobalt blue look more granular, what I need to do is add in some of the granulation medium. The trick to do this is to add lots of it. So painting out underneath, the cobalt blue now mixed neat with the granulation medium. You can see it has a more granular appearance. You see where it stipples into the paper here, it looks much more granular. And likewise when I paint out the Windsor Blue red shade, again, it's much more granular. It's worth pointing out at this point that it does actually become much more evident as the colour dries as well. That granulation becomes really predominant as the colour dries through. The trick to doing this, to make it work properly, is to add lots of it. So you will sacrifice some opacity, that is to say that your colours are going to be more translucent. The next medium I'd like to show you is this watercolour medium. It's best if I show you this in action. So I'll take the lid off the pot here, get myself a tube of colour. This is our Artist Watercolour Windsor Red Deep. Now what this medium does is it actually slows down the drying time of the watercolour, but it also increases the gloss, the transparency, which gives you a lot more depth and luminosity to the colour. I've mixed some watercolour medium with some Windsor Red Deep as part of this wash. As I put it over the page, the colour flows really nice and easy. I've also put it into my pot of water. You can see that it wets really nice and easily and flows across the page. Some nice transparency and depth there. And then if I blend in some Windsor Lemon, you can see that they both flow into each other nice and easy, and this is all facilitated by the watercolour medium. Gives you this extra wetting capability. And as I mentioned earlier, you will get some more transparency, but you get more depth, more luminosity. This Windsor Red Deep here is really shining now. It's worth pointing out at this stage that the watercolour medium should not be used neat. That is to say, it shouldn't be mixed directly with the colour and then applied to the page. You should use it as part of a watercolour wash, or indeed you can add it to your pot of water that you're using during your painting session, knowing then that every time you use your water, you're getting all the benefits of the watercolour medium with every colour that you use. Thick films used purely with watercolour medium can have a tendency to go brittle and indeed crack. So to summarise the two mediums, the trick with the granulation medium is to use lots of it, and it makes a granular colour more granular and a smooth colour become granular. And with the watercolour medium, don't use it on its own because it creates a brittle film. Don't use it with acid sensitive colours such as ultramarine, but apart from that, it will improve the gloss,
the flow and the transparency of your watercolours and give them a much greater depth and luminosity.